Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda, and please welcome to our Operation Freedom platform, WeThePeopleProcessing.com. You know, are you tired of being threatened to be canceled just because you have a company focused on liberty and freedom? Well, worry no more, folks. WeThePeopleProcessing.com is your go-to merchant services, freedom-based company to provide business service payment solutions. We the People Processing provides their clients a cancel culture-free platform which is domestically based. They provide competitive rates, no contracts with next-day funding, a fully vetted and like-minded financial infrastructure, and full support for integrations, implementation, and e-commerce efforts. Bottom line, WeThePeopleProcessing.com focuses on defending your company's free market growth, values, and future. Check them out at www.WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Once you're on the site, enter in password Operation Freedom or call 855-499-2024. That's WeThePeopleProcessing.com. Then, when on the website, enter Operation Freedom as your password or call 855-499-2024.
Mr. President-elect,
go ahead.
Can you state
She's
categorically?
asking a question.
Mr. President-elect, can you give us a question?
Don't be
You are
rude.
attacking us. Can you give us a question?
Don't be rude. No, I'm not going to give you a
question.
question. I'm not going to give you a question.
Can you state categorically?
You are fake news.
Sir.
Hi, I'm Dr. Dave Janda. Welcome back to Dave versus the MSM. I hope you had a Merry Christmas. I'd like to wish you a Happy New Year. I thank you for joining me on this platform. We are available 24/7 at davejanda.com with content you will never get from any other platform and you will never see, hear, read, or experience through the bought-off lamestream fake media. We have the free side, the public side to davejanda.com, extra shows, extra content, but where the real meat of the matter is with in-depth analysis, extra shows, extra content, extra guests, extra analysis, and archives to all of our shows are on the subscription side. Priceless information for a very small fee. Try it for a month. If you don't like it, get rid of it, but I'm not sure why. Because the information that's presented there puts you many months, if not years, ahead of the curve, and thereby protects your freedoms and liberties and tries to show you a path and how to enhance your freedoms and liberties and how to be less of a target for the deep state. Look, I believe 2022 is going to be a lot better than 2020 and 2021. Now, that might not be saying much because 2020 and 2021 were an incredible goat rodeo for every person of the world. Not just in this country, but every person of the world. Why? Because the deep state upped their game in not only taking people's lives, but stripping billions of people of their freedom and their liberty. But frankly, folks, they have failed. You know, if you watch the bought-off lamestream fake media tentacle of the deep state, it's fait accompli, they won. No, they're panicked, they're desperate, and they're acting out. And even better, they have been exposed. Millions more people today have been awakened than a year ago, at the beginning of 2021. And millions more were awakened at the beginning of 2021 than 2020. Oh no. No, just look at the protests that are occurring around the world. Whether you look in Vienna or Munich or in Scotland or the UK or Japan or New Zealand or Arizona or right here in the United States in New York, Los Angeles, just to name a few. People are awakened and they're protesting, peacefully protesting, and they're letting the deep state know we are on to you and we're not going to take it. One of the arms they use, big tech, is through their censorship protocols and programs, right? I got thrown off of Twitter because I called the freedom stripping a year and a half ago. Why? Because it hit too close to home. Because this last 2 years was not about this. It was about control. And that is being exposed daily. And who's doing it? We're doing it right here on this platform, but there are others in the independent media. It's the independent media that has saved this country and has awakened hundreds of millions of people. They're fact checkers, right? Oh, yeah. What a joke. No, actually, it's criminal what they do. Stunning. This is from Thomas Lifson from American Thinker. Stunning. Facebook court filing admits that, fact checks are just a matter of protected opinion. Well, they have nothing to do with facts. They have nothing to do with truth. They have nothing to do with data or facts or science. It's about opinion. Surprisingly, little attention is being paid to a bombshell admission made by the attorneys representing the corporation formerly known as Facebook. In a court filing responding to a lawsuit filed by John Stossel claiming that he was defamed by a, quote, fact check, end quote, Facebook used to label a video by him as, quote, misleading, end quote. Meta's attorneys assert that the, quote, fact check was actually just an opinion, not an actual check of facts and declaration of facts. It's all a scam, and it's being exposed, and they can sell facts, checks that have nothing to do with checks of facts, just fancy way, a marketing way of saying that they're censoring the truth. They're trying to sell these fact checks, and they're trying to sell sickness. On Operation Freedom, I've been speaking about inflation, supply chain issues, and voting with your hard-earned dollars and how to make a difference. Look, we all know over the past couple years how the globalist syndicate has done quite well. And while middle America, small and medium-sized American-made businesses have suffered while the big box stores have prospered. Many people believe, well, there's nothing you can do about it. I believe there is, folks. I believe there is. That's the good news. We need to vote with our dollars. That is how we make a difference. What if there was a better way to utilize our resources that we have earned to support small and medium-sized businesses rather than these big box stores or the globalist syndicate? Look, businesses that do not rely on cargo ships from far-off distant lands, that are American-based businesses, are the key. And that is where PatriotSwitch.com gives you and me the ability to help each other. Rather than continuing to give our money to the big box stores or the globalist syndicate, if you will. That's why PatriotSwitch.com was created, to help provide products from family-owned, American-made businesses and companies, and provide it to folks like you and me. That's PatriotSwitch.com, PatriotSwitch.com. Meanwhile, British Medical Journal, the senior editor, Dr. Peter Doshi, has been upfront on all of this. He is despised by the deep state. Facebook's Zuckerberg called out by British Medical Journal for, quote, incompetent, end quote, I would call it criminal, fact check on a story they did about Pfizer and whistleblowers talking about tainted data that was used to get their authorization, not approval. Remember, that's a whole shell game. Go to my website. Came out August 23rd. By August 24th, I had all the information exposing their shell game, their con, just like their cons of their fact checks. In an open letter to Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg, the British Medical Journal calls the tech giant's fact checkers, quote, inaccurate, incompetent, and irresponsible, end quote. I would also add, criminal. Saying they failed to, quote, provide any assertions of fact that the British Medical Journal article got wrong. The British Medical Journal asked Facebook co-founder Mark Zuckerberg to remove, by the way, he's a front. Yeah, for what? Your most favorite intelligence agency. It's a scam. Asked Zuckerberg to remove a warning that discourages Facebook's users from sharing an article about flaws in Pfizer's trial, saying the platform's, quote, incompetent, end quote, fact checkers are unfairly labeling stories as false. Of course, they have to because they don't want you to know the truth. Let me take you back to the British Medical Journal. I went back in their archives a bit. April 13th, 2002. So they're not only selling the deep state bogus fact checks, they're selling sickness. And the British Medical Journal called them out almost 20 years ago. April 13th, 2002. Selling Sickness, the Pharmaceutical Industry and Disease Mongering. This is written by Ray Moynihan, a journalist, Iona Health, a general practitioner, doc, and David Henry, a professor of clinical pharmacology. Here's what they say. A lot of money can be made from healthy people who believe they are sick. Tell me if this sounds, 2002, 2022. They were ahead of their time. Pharmaceutical companies sponsor diseases and promote them to prescribers and consumers. The authors give example of, quote, disease mongering, end quote, and suggest how to prevent the growth of this practice. There's a lot of money, well, that's what it's all about, and control, to be made from telling healthy people they're sick. Some forms of medical licensing, ordinary life, may now be better described as disease mongering, widening the boundaries of treatable illness in order to expand markets for those who sell and deliver treatments, and fear. Pharmaceutical companies are actively involved in sponsoring the definition of diseases, sound familiar, and promoting them to both prescribers and consumers. Oh. The social construction of illness is being replaced by the corporate construction of disease. Yeah. Within many disease categories, informal alliances have emerged, comprising drug companies, staff doctors, and consumer groups, ostensibly engaged in raising public awareness about underdiagnosed and undertreated problems. These alliances tend to promote a view of their particular condition as widespread, serious, but treatable. Yeah. Because these, quote, disease awareness, end quote, campaigns are commonly linked to companies' marketing strategies, they operate to expand markets for new pharmaceutical products. Alternative approaches, emphasizing the self-limiting or relatively benign natural history of a problem, or early effective treatment of generic medications, right? Or the importance of personal coping strategies are played down or ignored. As the late medical writer Lynn Payer observed, disease mongers, quote, gnaw away at our self-confidence, end quote. You better believe it. Although some sponsored professionals or consumers may act independently and all concerned may have honorable motives, in many cases the formula is the same. Groups and or campaigns are orchestrated, funded, and facilitated by corporate interests, often via their public relations and marketing infrastructure. I played those clips for you. Brought to you by Pfizer. Brought to you by the news. 60 Minutes. Oh, you name it, right? This is from 2002. Recommendations for demedicalizing normal conditions. Quote, move away from using corporate-funded information on medical conditions and diseases. And that includes the medical journals. By the way, remember those two editors speaking, New England Journal and The Lancet. This came out, about a year and a half, 2 years ago. They were saying, our publications have become nothing more than big pharmaceutical marketing campaigns. Oh, isn't this bad? Oh, shh, we better be quiet. This was a leaked conversation that came out, right? Right. So everything you see in the bought-off lamestream fake media, just look at who their advertisers are. And then you wonder why you're getting the garbage you're getting? Independent media is the way to go. Other recommendations. Generate independent, accessible materials on conditions and diseases. And that's what people like myself, Dr. Peter McCullough, Dr. Zev Zelenko, the frontline doctors, outstanding Association of American Physicians and Surgeons, American Frontline Doctor. This is what all of us are doing. Dr. Richard Fleming, Dr. Lee Merritt, as I mentioned, Dr. Zelenko, Dr. McCullough, Dr. Orso, just to name a few. This is what we're doing. And by the way, tremendous grief is thrown our way, right? Because we don't want people to know the truth. Come on. Another recommendation: widen notions of informed consent to include information about controversy surrounding the definitions of conditions and diseases. And this has been the key. This is what I focused on, and I've gotten a lot of trouble from the medical industrial complex of this. Here's what I've said. If you want to get this, get it. If you don't want to get it, don't get it. But before you make a decision, be informed of the potential risks and benefits, not just this, but any medical intervention. And only you can decide. Now, that follows the Hippocratic Oath, right? Do no harm. My daughters gave me this. Do no harm, but take no bull. The medical industrial complex doesn't want this part. And they don't even want this part. They just want you to go along with the narrative. And this ends up happening. Harm. And that's what many of us are fighting against. Folks, 2022 is going to be a great year for freedom and liberty. But here's how it gets even better faster. You taking this information that's provided through the independent media and networking it to anyone and everyone you know. And anyone who has a problem with comprehensive informed consent, they're not looking out for the interests of you or anyone in this world. Fact. Anyone trying to suppress information from coming out is not interested in your health or well-being. But we are. And many other folks are, that have the courage to stand up to the medical industrial complex. And that's what all of us have done. You're right. Many in the medical profession have been AWOL, and that's being kind. Many have been complicit in what's occurred. And they need to be held accountable. And I believe you're going to see it in 2022. It's going to take a while. But it's going to happen. It's going to happen quicker with your involvement. I hope you'll join us. Look, you can join us for the radio show every Sunday, 2 to 5. It's free. Just go to davejanda.com, hit the Listen Live button. If you want the archives, they're part of our subscription show, the podcast, and our subscription platform. You want the extra shows we do, the WTF show, the Insider Insight show, the Healthcare Policy Series, the Department of Advanced Research show, all the archives to all of our shows, that's part of the subscription platform. Priceless. We hope you become part of our freedom family. Happy New Year. Until next time, Dave Janda signing off. Dream big and dare to fail. Thanks for your time today.